Yo, what's up guys, Johnny Cosmic here, and today I'd like to go over the Mindphaser with you guys. Now I've only had this in my setup for 30 days, so I'm still trying to get familiar with it, but I like to show you guys how I'm using it in my live setup and my system. And also I'll be making these videos a lot shorter, so each day I can focus on a new patch idea for you guys and show you how I'm using it, because there's so many different ways that you can use a module in a setup. Alright guys, let's get to it. Okay guys, so I'm just going to let this play out for about a minute and then I'll show you exactly what it's doing. Now I have it hooked up one part with a sub. If you got good speakers, you probably want those on, and then I have a second part of it that's going for more of the mids and the top end, doing more melodic stuff, so it's doing multiple things at once. So all the melody and all the bass that you're hearing in this current setup that I have, it's doing everything on the melodic side and that bass. Okay, so how I have this hooked up right now is that the sub oscillator is going into the Pons Sonorium. So what that has is a ramp wave. So the ramp wave is going into my VCA. So it's doing the side chain, because I believe that's very important when it comes to making music, is that bass is cutting out when the kick is coming in, and it's so much more clean. And then the second part is the melodic part, the melody, which is going into the Akari and then into the mimeophone. So it's doing a lot of like freezing and flipping and stuff like that. So that's the melody. And the way I did it down here is that since they're both linked up, is I got the square wave also with the main output, which does all the TZM as well as the wave shaping. So I put those two together since they're the top end and they can actually take more stereo field. So that's where the Akari comes in to give it that more wide effect. Now the sub, I want to keep the lower end in mono, so I separated that. And also, before it goes into the Akari for the high end, I also put it through another filter first, so then I can cut some in and out when I want to before it goes into the Akari, and which does more automation, and then it goes into the mimeophone. And you got that sub. Sometimes it gets a little clicky, so I have to turn up the VCA so it goes away. So when I'm playing live and stuff, I just turn that up, and then when the kick comes back in, then I can cut it back downward to sidechain more, depending on how hard I want to sidechain it. You can do a lot of things with this, as like with the amplitude, and maybe I'll share that on another video. So this has its own like internal VCA, and when you turn up the index here, you can do more like wave shaping and stuff, so it can have some internal wave shapes based off of the index, and then having the sync off. So you can also do a lot more. I mean, if I separated this square wave away from the main output doing the wave shaping, I can do more processing and sending each individual part different things, so it can give more depth of field and more stereo dynamics. So I don't have a lot of stuff to mess around with, but so I just kept it that way. And then I have my modulation and also doing all the sequencing through the mimetic digitalis. So if I ever need to change melodies or bass lines, I can do that fairly quickly. And then that goes into my ornament and crime, which handles the quantizing. So you want the notes to be in the right keys, so I put it through here. Quantizers are a necessity. And then I also have here running through Pamela's workout, and I know a lot of people don't use the clock on the Mimeophone, but it has a clock in right here. So when you use that clock in, you can get more interesting effects. So if you put faster clock speeds or slower clock speeds, it can get really crazy pretty quickly. So I can change the clock. So instead of it being divided by 8, now I have it times 4, and now it's doing something more, even more trippy, faster, which is cool. So messing with different clock times and sending different triggers into different things. I think I have this triggering like a gate, so I could plug this in, and now it's messing with like setting a different beat to it. So you can do different, like kind of like Euclidean rhythm type of stuff through these to give it more percussive stuff as well. And then you got the LFO mode. So in the LFO mode, another way is that you send the LFO through, because it's a modulator in the carrier. So basically what that is, you have this modulating up and down, so then when you do use the index, it can do a slower modulation, so it's blinking really fast right now. So if you want to have like this to be up and down or wavy, you can change the speed of it. So if you want a slower type of wave pattern, you can do that. So when I turn that up, it can automate a lot of that too. And if you don't want that, you can just turn on the sync, so then you can lock the frequency to the carrier. Well, that's all I really have today, so definitely do more patch ideas for you guys on the Mindphaser. And if you guys like this kind of stuff, don't hesitate to ask me any more questions, and then I'll do another video on different patch ideas. I've been also thinking about just doing one like a patch from scratch, but those tend to take a lot longer. Like for me to do a patch like this, sometimes it takes me 10 minutes, or sometimes it takes me half an hour or an hour or a couple hours, depending on how stuck I get on the patch. But yeah, so I hope you guys like that, and let me know how you guys are using this in your setup, and any ideas you think I could be using with it as well, or anything else. for that matter. Alright guys, take care and hope to see you guys in the next one.